Probably one of the first sites that really like arrested my attention, and I was like, whoa, there is something going on here, was Sacsayhuaman.
Peru is one of the great centers for this incredible megalithic work that we see. Nobody honestly knows who did the work. We simply know that it was an ancient civilization that obviously had advanced technology. I asked my guide who did this, and he said the Inca. And I said, that's impossible because they were a Bronze Age society.
The Sacsayhuaman Citadel, located on the northern outskirts of Cusco, Peru, stands as a monumental testament to the ingenuity of ancient civilizations. This mysterious structure, though the exact date of its discovery in modern terms is difficult to pinpoint, Sacsayhuaman has always been known to the local indigenous peoples and has long been recognized as a significant site in the Incan heartland.
And that caused me over the course of time to eventually move to Peru in order to continue to pursue this.
The true discovery by the outside world, however, can be traced back to the Spanish conquest of Peru in the 16th century. When the Spanish conquistadors, led by Francisco Pizarro, arrived in Cusco in 1533, they were awestruck by the grandeur of Sacsayhuaman. Chroniclers such as Pedro Chiesa de Leon and Garcilaso de la Vega documented their impressions, with de la Vega describing Sacsayhuaman as the most important architectural work of the Incas. The citadel's enormous stone structures, arranged in precise formations, defied the understanding of European architects and engineers of the time. The discovery was not a singular event, but a gradual unveiling of the citadel's mysteries. Over the years, as the Spanish sought to conquer and convert the Inca, they dismantled much of Sacsayhuaman, using its stones to build colonial Cusco. However, the scale and complexity of the site ensured that significant portions remained intact. Sacsayhuaman is enveloped in mystery, both in its construction and its purpose. One of the most striking features of the site is the precision with which the massive stone blocks are fitted together. The stones, some weighing over 100 tons, are cut and assembled with such accuracy that even modern engineers are baffled by the techniques used. The walls are made up of polygonal blocks, carefully interlocked without the use of mortar. This method not only ensured the longevity of the structures, but also allowed them to withstand earthquakes, no small feat in a seismically active region. One of the most fascinating aspects of Sacsayhuaman is the scale of its construction. The largest stones used in the walls weigh up to 140 tons and are over 5 meters high. To put this in perspective, these stones are heavier than the largest blocks used in the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza, which weigh around 80 tons. Despite their immense size, these stones are fitted together with such precision that even a piece of paper cannot be inserted between them. The method by which the Inca cut and transported these stones remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of archaeology. Theories range from the use of simple tools like bronze chisels and hammers to the more controversial idea that the Inca possessed some form of advanced technology or knowledge lost to history. Another unique feature of Sacsayhuaman is its zigzagging walls, which are not only aesthetically striking, but also serve a practical purpose. These walls are believed to have been designed to absorb the impact of seismic activity, which is common in the region. The zigzag pattern also made it difficult for invaders to scale the walls, providing a strategic advantage. The question of who built Sacsayhuaman has been the subject of much debate. The traditional view is that the Inca, who ruled the region from the early 15th century until the arrival of the Spanish in the 16th century, were the builders. However, some researchers argue that the site may predate the Inca and could have been constructed by an earlier, unknown civilization. The theory that Sacsayhuaman was built by the Inca is supported by the presence of similar construction techniques at other Inca sites, such as Machu Picchu and Ollantaytambo. However, the sheer scale of the stones used at Sacsayhuaman, combined with the lack of evidence for how the Inca could have moved such massive blocks, has led some to speculate that they may have inherited the site from an earlier culture. One of the most intriguing theories is that the builders of Sacsayhuaman possessed advanced knowledge of harmonic resonance technology, which allowed them to move the massive stones with ease. This theory suggests that the builders used sound waves to levitate or reduce the weight of the stones, enabling them to transport and position them with minimal effort. While there is no direct evidence to support this theory, It has gained popularity among those who believe that ancient civilizations had access to advanced technologies that have since been lost. The idea that humans could have built Sacsayhuaman using conventional techniques, such as ramps and levers, is not entirely dismissed by archaeologists. However, the lack of definitive evidence for how the stones were moved and the precision with which they were cut and fitted has led to a wide range of alternative theories, including the possibility of alien assistance. Determining the exact age of Sacsayhuaman has proven challenging. While it is generally accepted that the site was constructed during the reign of the Inca, which began in the early 15th century, some evidence suggests that portions of the citadel may be much older. Radiocarbon dating of organic material found at the site has provided dates ranging from the 12th to the 15th centuries, but these dates are associated with the site's later use rather than its initial construction. The lack of definitive dating has led some researchers to propose that Sacsayhuaman may have been built on top of an even older structure, possibly by a pre-Incan civilization. This theory is supported by the fact that the construction techniques used at Sacsayhuaman differ from those found at other Inca sites. The precision with which the stones are cut and fitted, for example, is far superior to that seen at Machu Picchu or Ollantaytambo, leading some to speculate that the Inca may have inherited and repurposed the site. One of the most interesting aspects of Sacsayhuaman is its potential connection to the megalithic traditions of other ancient cultures. Some researchers have noted similarities between the construction techniques used at Sacsayhuaman and those found at other megalithic sites around the world, such as Stonehenge in England and the pyramids of Egypt. These similarities have led to speculation that Sacsayhuaman may be part of a global network of ancient sites, possibly built by a lost civilization with advanced knowledge of engineering and astronomy. Sacsayhuaman, like many ancient sites, has become the focus of numerous conspiracy theories and speculative ideas. One of the most popular theories is that Sacsayhuaman is connected to the legendary Hall of Records, a supposed repository of ancient knowledge hidden beneath the earth. According to this theory, the Hall of Records contains the secrets of advanced technologies and ancient wisdom, which were used by the builders of Sacsayhuaman to construct the citadel. Another intriguing theory is that Sacsayhuaman was built using harmonic resonance technology. This idea suggests that the builders were able to move the massive stones by generating specific frequencies of sound which caused the stones to levitate or become lighter. While this theory is not supported by mainstream archaeology, it has gained popularity among those who believe that ancient civilizations possessed knowledge and technologies that have been lost to history. The theory of alien assistance is another popular idea associated with Sacsayhuaman. Proponents of this theory argue that the precision and scale of the stonework at Sacsayhuaman are beyond the capabilities of ancient human civilizations and suggest that extraterrestrial beings may have played a role in the construction of the citadel. This idea is often linked to the broader concept of ancient astronauts, which posits that aliens visited Earth in the distant past and helped early humans build megalithic structures. One of the more fantastical theories is that Sacsayhuaman is a portal to another world or dimension. According to this idea, the citadel was constructed as a gateway that could be used to travel between different realms. Some proponents of this theory suggest that the complex alignment of the stones and the presence of underground tunnels indicate that Sacsayhuaman was designed as a multidimensional gateway. The purpose of Sacsayhuaman has been the subject of much debate among archaeologists and historians. The traditional view is that the site served as a military fortress designed to protect Cusco, the capital of the Inca Empire, from invaders. The strategic location of Sacsayhuaman overlooking the city and surrounding valley supports this theory, as does the presence of defensive features such as the zigzag walls and underground tunnels. However, some researchers believe that Sacsayhuaman may have served a more ceremonial or religious function. The alignment of the site with astronomical events, such as the solstices and equinoxes, suggests that it may have been used for ritual purposes. The presence of large open spaces within the citadel, which could have accommodated thousands of people, also supports the idea that Sacsayhuaman was a gathering place for religious ceremonies and festivals. Sacsayhuaman is not the only mysterious site in the Cusco region. Nearby, the ancient city of Machu Picchu, located approximately 70 miles northwest of Cusco, shares many similarities with Sacsayhuaman in terms of construction techniques and astronomical alignments. Machu Picchu, like Sacsayhuaman, features precisely cut stonework and structures that align with celestial events, suggesting a possible connection between the two sites. The region around Cusco is also home to several other enigmatic sites, such as the Ollantaytambo Fortress and the city of Pisac. These sites, like Sacsayhuaman, feature impressive stonework and are aligned with astronomical events. The concentration of such sites in the Cusco region has led some researchers to speculate that the area may have been a center of advanced knowledge and technology in the ancient world.
The Anunnaki, they are these beings that came from off-world.
So these are aliens?
These are aliens. Anunnaki is a general term. It doesn't mean one race. It's a term to say those who came from heaven to earth. That's it. Ancient Sumeria, the people there were advanced beyond belief. So these people were extremely intelligent, but they were influenced by these Anunnaki Atlantean people.
Hidden within the ancient tablets of the Epic of Gilgamesh are secret messages left by the Anunnaki king for modern civilization, offering timeless wisdom and cautionary tales.
We keep slapping our ancient ancestors in the face, doubting their wisdom and doubting their understanding of what really happened.
This legendary narrative, chronicling the adventures of Gilgamesh and his companion Enkidu, reveals profound insights into humanity's quest for immortality, the value of friendship, and the consequences of hubris.
For example, the Epic of Gilgamesh is giving you the full story of Noah's Ark. The generalization of the story is coming directly from these ancient tablets.
As scholars uncover more fragments and interpretations of this ancient epic, they piece together a tapestry of mythology, history, and philosophy. In the mid-19th century, a renewed interest in archaeology and history sparked the rediscovery of ancient civilizations.
The homegrown archaeologists that aren't afraid to talk say that these fortresses were built in a day and a night by the beings that came from heaven.
During this pivotal period, the story of Gilgamesh, a legendary figure from Sumerian lore, began to surface through a series of archaeological excavations in the ancient Near East. These efforts uncovered remnants of a long-forgotten civilization buried under the sands of time. Mesopotamia, often referred to as the cradle of civilization, was located in the fertile region between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, corresponding to modern-day Iraq. This region was home to some of the earliest known cities, such as Uruk, Ur, and Babylon. The rich soil and abundant water supply supported the development of complex societies, advanced agriculture, and early writing systems, laying the foundations for human civilization.
They actually, in the tablets, talk about clearing out the Euphrates and the Tigris to make it better for irrigation.
In 1849, British archaeologist Austin Henry Layard made a groundbreaking discovery while excavating the ancient city of Nineveh, one of the oldest and most significant cities of the Assyrian Empire. Nineveh, located near the modern city of Mosul in northern Iraq, had been a major center of trade, politics, and culture in ancient Mesopotamia. Among Layard's most remarkable findings was the library of Ashurbanipal, the last great king of the Neo-Assyrian Empire. This vast collection of clay tablets, inscribed with cuneiform script, contained a wealth of information about the Assyrian Empire, its history, religion, literature, and science. The library, dating back to the 7th century BCE, was a treasure trove of knowledge that provided an unprecedented glimpse into the ancient world. Interestingly, the discovery of Ashurbanipal's library was serendipitous. Layard initially set out to find artifacts and treasures, but he stumbled upon a more valuable find: the written records of a civilization.
These people were scribing specifically what they were told to write by their god or their lord or their master.
The sheer volume of tablets, estimated to be around 30,000, suggested a highly literate society that valued the preservation of knowledge. The decipherment of cuneiform was a monumental achievement that unlocked the secrets of ancient Mesopotamian civilization.
These translations are ancient, in my opinion, because we're talking about 17 and 1800s. The tablets were already translated.
Cuneiform, one of the earliest systems of writing, was characterized by its wedge-shaped marks made on clay tablets with a reed stylus. This script was used by several ancient cultures, including the Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians. The challenge of deciphering cuneiform fell to scholars like Sir Henry Rawlinson, a British Army officer and linguist. Rawlinson's breakthrough came with the Behistun inscription, a multilingual inscription carved into a cliff in what is now Iran. The inscription, commissioned by King Darius the Great of Persia, was written in 3 languages: Old Persian, Elamite, and Babylonian. By comparing the known language of Old Persian with the cuneiform script, Rawlinson and other scholars were able to crack the code of cuneiform. By the 1850s, significant progress had been made in understanding cuneiform, allowing scholars to begin translating the vast collection of texts from Ashurbanipal's library. Among these texts was a particular set of 12 tablets that revealed a coherent and enthralling narrative, the story of Gilgamesh.
All the different people that have researched them have a very similar story.
The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest known works of literature, is a rich tapestry of mythology, history, and philosophy. The narrative follows Gilgamesh, the semi-divine king of Uruk, and his adventures with his companion Enkidu. Their journey takes them through various trials, including the confrontation with the monster Humbaba, the rejection of the goddess Ishtar, and the quest for immortality following Enkidu's passing. The epic begins with Gilgamesh, the king of Uruk, who is described as 2/3 divine and 1/3 human. His extraordinary strength and wisdom make him a formidable ruler, but his arrogance and oppressive rule cause his people to cry out to the gods for relief. In response to their pleas, the gods create Enkidu, a wild man who lives among the animals. Enkidu's initial innocence and harmony with nature contrast sharply with Gilgamesh's urban civilization. A temple servant named Shamhat is sent to tame Enkidu, introducing him to human culture and society. This transformation from wild man to civilized companion sets the stage for his friendship with Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh and Enkidu become fast friends, their bond solidified by their shared adventures. They undertake a perilous journey to the cedar forest to confront Humbaba, the fearsome guardian appointed by the god Enlil. Despite Humbaba's terrifying presence, they manage to defeat him, showcasing their bravery and strength. This victory, however, sows the seeds of their eventual downfall by angering the gods. The gods decree that Enkidu must be expunged as punishment for their defiance. Enkidu's passing is a pivotal moment in the epic, profoundly affecting Gilgamesh. His grief and despair drive him to seek the secret of immortality, fearing his own mortality and the futility of human endeavors. This quest takes him on a journey beyond the known world, into the realms of the gods and the unknown. Gilgamesh's search for eternal life leads him to Utnapishtim, the only mortal granted immortality by the gods after surviving a great flood. Utnapishtim recounts the story of the flood, which closely parallels the biblical account of Noah's Ark. Despite Gilgamesh's efforts, he ultimately fails to obtain immortality. Utnapishtim reveals that the secret of eternal life lies in accepting one's mortality and finding meaning in the transient human experience. An interesting comparison can be made between the Epic of Gilgamesh and Homer's Iliad and Odyssey. Both epics explore themes of heroism, the human condition, and the quest for immortality. However, while Homer's epics are rooted in Greek mythology and focus on the exploits of mortal heroes, the Gilgamesh epic delves deeper into existential questions and the limits of human ambition, reflecting the values and beliefs of ancient Mesopotamian society. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Epic of Gilgamesh is the story of the Great Flood, recounted by Utnapishtim, the immortal survivor. In this narrative, Utnapishtim tells Gilgamesh how the gods decided to send a flood to destroy humanity, but advised him to build a boat to save his family and the seed of all living things. This story bears a striking resemblance to the biblical account of Noah's Ark in the Book of Genesis. Scholars have theorized that the flood myth in the Epic of Gilgamesh may have influenced the biblical narrative, suggesting a shared cultural memory of a catastrophic flood in the ancient Near East. This theory is supported by the fact that flood myths are prevalent in many ancient cultures, pointing to a possible historical event or a collective human response to natural disasters. An intriguing theory posits that Gilgamesh may have been a historical figure who reigned over the city-state of Uruk around 2700 BCE. Evidence supporting this theory includes the Sumerian king list, which mentions a king named Gilgamesh who ruled Uruk for 126 years. While the epic embellishes his life with mythical elements, it is possible that the stories were inspired by a real king, whose deeds and legacy were magnified over time. This theory highlights the fluid boundary between history and myth in ancient storytelling. Over the years, additional fragments of the Gilgamesh epic have been discovered at various archaeological sites across Mesopotamia, such as the ancient cities of Ur and Babylon. These fragments have allowed scholars to fill in gaps and clarify ambiguities in the narrative, enhancing our understanding of the text. Each new discovery has helped refine the epic, revealing variations in the story that reflect different cultural contexts and periods. For instance, some versions emphasize Gilgamesh's divinity more than others, while certain passages highlight different moral and philosophical themes.
When Oriana went down the Amazon, the reports were that there was great civilizations in the Amazon. And then, a few hundred years later, when people got to actually check up on this stuff, it was all gone. There's more ancient civilization information in the Amazon than we previously thought. True statement. There clearly is a long history of complex civilizations in the Amazon.
Imagine uncovering an ancient civilization so advanced that it reshapes everything we know about early human history. That's exactly what happened when scientists recently used cutting-edge technology to explore the dense jungles of the Amazon.
It's the most biodiverse terrestrial habitat that has ever existed on Earth. So there's more life here than anywhere else, period.
Hidden beneath the thick canopy, they discovered remnants of an ancient tribe with megalithic structures. Join us as we delve into this groundbreaking discovery, revealing the secrets of a people who once thrived in the heart of the jungle. The discovery of the Olmec civilization is a story that began in the mid-19th century, when travelers in the Gulf Coast region of Mexico stumbled upon large, enigmatic stone heads.
The Olmecs, really, they're characterized by the megalithic stone heads, precision-engineered stonework.
In 1862, a colossal stone head was unearthed near Tres Zapotes, Veracruz, by José Melgar, a Mexican explorer and antiquarian. This head puzzled Melgar, who didn't realize its cultural significance. Despite his detailed documentation of the head, it didn't spark immediate widespread interest.
Everyone goes to the big Mayan sites, or they go to Teotihuacan and Mexico City because they're impressive. Whereas the Olmec sites, there's not much left.
The head remained an isolated curiosity for many years, as the region was still relatively unexplored, and it would take several more decades before systematic archaeological efforts began to reveal the full extent of the Olmec civilization. The formal recognition of the Olmec civilization began in earnest in the early 20th century, thanks largely to the efforts of archaeologists like Franz Blom and Oliver Lafarge. In the 1920s, Blom and Lafarge conducted an expedition to the Gulf Coast and encountered more colossal heads and other artifacts at Tres Zapotes.
But no one really knows anything. There's no writing, there's no good legends or stories that come down describing what they were doing.
Their findings, published in 1926, drew the attention of the academic community to the region. Their meticulous documentation of the artifacts provided detailed descriptions and photographs that allowed other researchers to start piecing together the unique characteristics of the Olmec civilization. The term Olmec, derived from the Nahuatl word Olmecatl, meaning rubber people, was initially used to describe these early Gulf Coast inhabitants who lived around 1200 to 400 BCE. The name later came to refer to the broader cultural and archaeological phenomena associated with the sites and artifacts discovered in this region. The designation rubber people is particularly intriguing because it highlights one of the Olmec's notable achievements: the production and use of rubber. The Olmec were among the first in the world to develop techniques for processing latex from local rubber trees, which they used to create various items, including balls for ceremonial games. This innovation underscores their sophisticated understanding of natural materials and their practical applications. In the 1930s and 1940s, extensive excavations were conducted at San Lorenzo Tenochtitlan, a major Olmec site in Veracruz, led by Matthew Sterling of the Smithsonian Institution and the National Geographic Society. These excavations uncovered numerous colossal heads, altars, and other stone sculptures.
We don't really know what they were. All we've got left is the stone heads to look at and decipher.
San Lorenzo was identified as one of the earliest and most significant Olmec centers, dating back to around 1200 BCE. The site's monumental architecture and sophisticated drainage systems revealed the complexity and advancement of Olmec society. Sterling's work was groundbreaking in many ways. His discoveries at San Lorenzo included massive basalt sculptures, some weighing up to 40 tons, which had been transported over considerable distances from their quarries. This feat highlighted the Olmecs' remarkable engineering skills and their ability to mobilize and organize large labor forces. This required advanced logistics and engineering, indicating a highly organized society with a strong central authority. The drainage system at San Lorenzo, consisting of carefully laid stone-lined channels, demonstrated the Olmecs' understanding of hydraulics and urban planning. The discovery of workshop areas for specialized craft production, particularly in stone carving and jade working, underscored the site's economic and cultural importance. Interestingly, the societal organization required for such monumental projects in San Lorenzo can be compared to ancient Egypt's construction of the pyramids, with both civilizations mobilizing vast labor forces and demonstrating advanced knowledge in engineering and logistics, reflecting the centralization of power and resources. The site of La Venta in Tabasco became another focal point of Olmec studies, with excavations in the 1940s and 1950s, also spearheaded by Sterling, unearthing a wealth of artifacts.
But there's very interesting artifacts and sites below south of Mexico City that myself, I've been visiting them for years.
These included more colossal heads, jade figurines, and intricately carved stelae. La Venta was recognized as a major ceremonial center that flourished around 900 to 400 BCE. The site's layout, featuring a large pyramid, plazas, and stone monuments, illustrated the Olmecs' architectural and artistic achievements. La Venta's Great Pyramid, a clay structure about 34 meters high, is one of the earliest pyramid-like constructions in Mesoamerica. This pyramid, along with the site's central axis and complex layout, influenced later Mesoamerican ceremonial centers. The discovery of elaborate burials and offering caches containing jade, serpentine, and other exotic materials indicated the site's religious and political significance. One of the most fascinating artifacts from La Venta is the Ambassador Offering, a cache containing 16 male figurines and 6 celts arranged in a ritualistic pattern. These figurines, made of jade and other precious materials, appear to be involved in a ceremonial scene, suggesting a complex social hierarchy and religious practices. La Venta also revealed numerous basalt columns used in both construction and as altars, some intricately carved with symbols and deities, indicating a sophisticated belief system and a high level of artistic achievement. Tres Zapotes continued to yield important discoveries, including the famous Stela C, which contained one of the earliest known long count dates in Mesoamerica, corresponding to 32 BCE. This finding provided crucial evidence of the Olmecs' influence on later Mesoamerican cultures, particularly in the development of calendrical systems. Tres Zapotes also provided evidence of a prolonged occupation, with artifacts ranging from early Olmec to post-Olmec times, indicating the site's long-term importance. The site featured multiple phases of construction, with mounds, plazas, and stone sculptures suggesting continuous development and adaptation. Laguna de los Xeros, another critical Olmec site, yielded numerous artifacts and monumental sculptures. The site's strategic location near trade routes highlights its role as a commercial hub. Artifacts such as pottery, figurines, and tools suggest extensive trade and interaction with neighboring cultures, further illustrating the Olmecs' wide-ranging influence. The Olmec were master artisans in jade and serpentine, creating intricate masks, figurines, and celts often depicting shamanistic or deified figures. The craftsmanship and detail of these objects indicate a high level of artistic skill and the importance of these materials in Olmec society. The Olmec were also pioneers in the production of rubber. They developed techniques to process latex from local rubber trees, which they used to create balls for the Mesoamerican bull game, a ritualistic and possibly competitive sport that held significant cultural importance. Many Olmec artifacts depict shamanistic figures and were-jaguar motifs, suggesting a belief system centered around shamanic practices and animal transformation. These motifs are believed to represent the powerful connection between humans and the spiritual world, with shamans acting as intermediaries. The Olmecs' extensive trade networks allowed them to influence and interact with distant cultures. They traded jade, obsidian, and other valuable materials, spreading their cultural and technological innovations across Mesoamerica. Research on the Olmec civilization continues to this day, with new discoveries and interpretations emerging from ongoing excavations and advanced technologies like remote sensing and DNA analysis. These efforts are steadily unveiling more about the Olmec's social structure, economy, and interactions with neighboring cultures. Recent studies have utilized LiDAR technology to uncover previously hidden structures and settlements, providing a more comprehensive view of Olmec urbanism and their environmental adaptations. LiDAR has been especially useful in mapping out the complex layouts of Olmec cities, revealing the sophistication of their urban planning and their ability to adapt to the challenging environment of the Gulf Coast.
What's the most dangerous animal in the Amazon, would you say?
I'm going to disappoint everybody with this, but it's humans. Most of the people that I meet don't actually really understand how isolated these people are. There clearly is a long history of complex civilizations in the Amazon, 100%. They've built something there that when you look up at that mountain, you go, whoa.
Scientists discovered a tribe in the Amazon jungle that never evolved, sparking a renewed fascination with isolated human societies. Among these mysterious groups, the Sentinelese of North Sentinel Island stand out as one of the most intriguing and resilient. Hidden away in the dense forests and protected by treacherous coral reefs, the Sentinelese have lived in near-total isolation for thousands of years, fiercely defending their territory from any outsider who dares to approach. North Sentinel Island is a fascinating and mysterious place located in the Bay of Bengal, nestled between India to the west and Myanmar to the north and east. This island, part of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, spans approximately 59.5 square kilometers, which is about the same size as Manhattan in New York City. The island is covered with a dense tropical rainforest, creating a lush green canopy that hides much of its interior from aerial view. Its coastline is surrounded by coral reefs, forming a natural barrier that makes access by boat exceptionally difficult. These reefs are treacherous, with sharp corals capable of damaging boats, further protecting the island's inhabitants from unwelcome visitors. The waters around North Sentinel Island are clear and rich with marine life, indicating an undisturbed ecosystem. The island itself is relatively flat, with the highest elevations reaching only about 122 meters above sea level. This flat terrain, coupled with its dense forestation, presents a challenging environment for any explorers or researchers who might consider venturing there. Home to one of the world's last uncontacted tribes, the Sentinelese North Sentinel Island is steeped in mystery. The exact population of the Sentinelese is difficult to determine due to their reclusive and hostile nature, but estimates suggest it ranges between 50 and 200 individuals. These people are believed to have lived on the island for up to 60,000 years, making them one of the most ancient continuous populations on Earth. The Sentinelese are of Negrito descent, characterized by their dark skin, short stature, and curly hair. They share physical similarities with other indigenous peoples of the Andaman Islands, such as the Onga and the Jarwa, but their language, customs, and social practices remain distinct and largely unknown to the outside world. The Sentinelese society is thought to be hunter-gatherer, relying on the island's natural resources for sustenance. They hunt wildlife, fish in the coastal waters, and gather fruits, nuts, and tubers from the forest. The tools and weapons they use are simple, made from stone, wood, and occasionally metal scavenged from shipwrecks that wash ashore. They are known to be proficient with bows and arrows, which they use for both hunting and defending their territory from intruders. Isolation is a defining characteristic of the Sentinelese. They have lived in near-total isolation for thousands of years, maintaining their way of life with little to no influence from the outside world. This isolation is both self-imposed and enforced through their aggressive defense of their territory. The Sentinelese are infamous for their hostile response to any attempts at contact. Whether researchers, fishermen, or missionaries approach the island, they are met with bows and arrows. This hostility is believed to stem from historical experiences with violence and disease brought by outsiders, coupled with a deeply ingrained cultural imperative to protect their land and way of life. An interesting theory proposed by some anthropologists is that the Sentinelese's extreme hostility to outsiders may be a form of social cohesion and survival strategy. By maintaining strict isolation, they avoid the devastating impacts of diseases to which they have no immunity, a fate that has befallen many other indigenous populations upon contact with the modern world. This theory suggests that their behavior is an evolved response designed to protect their genetic lineage and cultural heritage from extinction. When comparing the Sentinelese to the Andamanese Jawa tribe, a compelling perspective on the impacts of contact and isolation emerges. The Jawa, another indigenous group from the Andaman Islands, have had more interaction with outsiders over the past few decades. This contact has led to significant changes in their lifestyle, health, and social structures. While the Jawa have gained access to modern amenities and healthcare, they have also faced challenges such as the loss of traditional ways of life, exposure to diseases, and dependency on outside support. In stark contrast, the Sentinelese have managed to maintain their traditional way of life, largely untouched by the outside world. This stark difference highlights the profound impact that contact with modern civilization can have on isolated indigenous communities. The comparison underscores the importance of respecting and protecting the autonomy of such tribes, allowing them to decide their own futures without external pressures. The first recorded mention of North Sentinel Island dates back to 1771, when British surveyor John Ritchie observed the island from a distance during a mapping expedition. Although Ritchie did not set foot on the island, his mention marked the beginning of its documentation in colonial records. The island later appeared on British maps in the late 19th century, further solidifying its place in recorded history. In the years that followed, North Sentinel Island remained largely unexplored due to its dense forests and dangerous coral reefs. The island's mysterious aura only grew with time, as did the curiosity of explorers and colonists. In 1867, the Indian merchant ship Nineveh ran aground on the reefs near North Sentinel Island. The shipwreck survivors made it to the shore but were soon attacked by the Sentinelese, who used bows and arrows to defend their territory. The survivors managed to signal for help, and a rescue party from the British Royal Navy arrived days later to retrieve them. This encounter was one of the earliest documented instances of the Sentinelese's hostility towards outsiders. It set a precedent for future interactions, where any attempt to approach the island was met with aggression. The consistent hostility can be attributed to the tribe's desire to protect their isolation and way of life from external influences. In 1880, Maurice Vidal Portman, a British colonial administrator, led an expedition to North Sentinel Island. Portman, who had a keen interest in the indigenous peoples of the Andaman Islands, aimed to study the Sentinelese and their way of life. During this expedition, he captured 6 Sentinelese individuals. Portman brought them to Port Blair, the capital of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, with the intent of studying them. However, the 2 adults quickly fell ill and died, likely due to their lack of immunity to common diseases. This event likely reinforced the tribe's deep-seated distrust and hostility towards outsiders, having experienced the fatal consequences of contact. The Indian government has recognized the importance of protecting the Sentinelese from external threats and has taken significant measures to preserve their way of life. In 1956, the government enacted the Andaman and Nicobar Islands Regulation, which designates the island as a tribal reserve and prohibits travel within a 3-mile exclusion zone around it. The primary reasons for this exclusion zone are to prevent the introduction of diseases to which the Sentinelese have no immunity and to respect their right to live undisturbed. The government's policy aims to balance the preservation of the tribe's cultural heritage with their safety and autonomy. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami was a catastrophic event that caused widespread destruction across the region. In the aftermath, there were concerns about the well-being of the Sentinelese. The Indian government conducted aerial surveys to assess the situation on North Sentinel Island. Remarkably, the Sentinelese survived the tsunami, demonstrating their deep knowledge of the island's geography and their ability to adapt to natural disasters. Photographs from the surveys showed Sentinelese individuals shooting arrows at the helicopters, a clear indication of their continued resilience and hostility towards outsiders. This incident reaffirmed the tribe's determination to remain isolated and underscored their ability to survive extreme conditions.
Our very distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Why this interest in the bottom of the world? Nobody living down there, is there?
I tell you one reason they're interested. It's by far the most valuable, important place left in the world for science.
Explorers found ancient pyramids beneath Antarctica's ice, sparking a whirlwind of conspiracy theories and speculative intrigue. Among these captivating tales is the story of Admiral Richard E. Byrd's alleged encounters with extraterrestrial beings and the discovery of lush green jungles hidden in the frigid continent of Antarctica. Operation High Jump, officially known as the United States Navy Antarctic Developments Program 1946-47, was a remarkable military and exploratory mission undertaken by the United States Navy. The operation aimed to establish the Antarctic research base Little America 4. As one of the largest and most comprehensive Antarctic expeditions ever conducted, it combined ambitious objectives with significant logistical challenges. The mission had several primary objectives. One of the main goals was to train personnel and test equipment under extreme cold weather conditions, which was crucial for future operations in both the Arctic and Antarctic. Additionally, the operation aimed to extend American sovereignty over as much of the Antarctic continent as possible. This involved extensive study and mapping of the region, along with conducting scientific research to gather valuable geological and meteorological data. Another critical objective was to develop and test techniques for establishing, maintaining, and utilizing bases in the harsh Antarctic environment. A more controversial and speculative objective suggests that part of the mission may have involved investigating underground alien encounters. This theory stems from alleged writings and statements by Admiral Richard E. Byrd, who reportedly hinted at encounters with advanced beings or technologies beneath the Antarctic ice. The operation was led by Rear Admiral Richard E. Byrd, a renowned polar explorer, and Rear Admiral Richard H. Cruzen commanded the task force. Task Force 68, as it was designated, comprised 4,700 men, 13 ships, and 33 aircraft. The fleet set out from Norfolk, Virginia on December 2, 1946. The journey to Antarctica was arduous, testing the endurance of the ships and the resilience of the crew as they navigated icy waters and extreme weather conditions. Upon reaching Antarctica, the expedition established the primary base, Little America 4, near the Bay of Whales on the Ross Ice Shelf. This base became the central hub for various operations, including reconnaissance, mapping, and scientific research. A crucial component of Operation High Jump was aerial reconnaissance. Aircraft conducted extensive photographic flights, mapping nearly 60% of the previously uncharted Antarctic coastline. These flights provided invaluable data on the continent's topography, ice conditions, and potential resources, significantly contributing to the overall success and legacy of the mission. Operation High Jump has long been shrouded in conspiracy theories, with one of the most fascinating being that it was actually a cover for investigating ancient alien technology supposedly hidden beneath the Antarctic ice. This theory, though it lacks credible evidence, continues to intrigue due to its mix of historical intrigue, science fiction, and the mysterious allure of Antarctica. Antarctica, with its vast uncharted expanses and extreme isolation, naturally invites speculation about hidden secrets. The continent's harsh environment and inaccessibility make it a prime candidate for theories involving ancient civilizations and extraterrestrial artifacts. The possibility of areas remaining unexplored or undiscovered for millennia adds to the mystique, leading some to believe that advanced technologies or ancient relics could be buried under its ice. Admiral Richard E. Byrd, a prominent figure in polar exploration, made several statements that have been interpreted and embellished by conspiracy theorists. His reference to Antarctica being the center of a new development of the world is often taken out of context to suggest a cryptic hint towards the discovery of alien technology. Byrd's reputation and the mysterious nature of his expeditions provide fertile ground for such theories to flourish. Proponents of the theory suggest that Antarctica was once home to advanced civilizations during a period when the continent had a more temperate climate. Geological evidence indicates that millions of years ago, Antarctica was warmer and possibly habitable, which feeds into the idea that ancient civilizations could have thrived there. These alleged civilizations are believed to have developed sophisticated technologies, possibly with extraterrestrial influence. Artifacts from these civilizations, including supposed machinery or structures, are thought to be buried beneath the ice, preserved over eons. Supporters often cite the Piri Reis map, a world map created by an Ottoman admiral in 1513, which appears to depict the coast of Antarctica without ice. They argue this as evidence of ancient knowledge of the continent's geography, possibly linked to advanced or extraterrestrial civilizations. The narrative often includes claims that the US government discovered alien artifacts or ancient technology during Operation High Jump and subsequently classified this information. According to the theory, such discoveries would have been deemed too disruptive or panic-inducing for public disclosure. The idea that governments might want to control advanced technology for strategic advantages is a common theme in conspiracy theories. Allegations suggest that the US sought to keep any potential alien technology secret to prevent it from falling into the hands of other nations, or to study and potentially reverse engineer it for military use. Some versions of the theory include alleged witness accounts from military personnel who claim to have seen unusual structures or objects during the expedition. One of the most intriguing and controversial aspects of Admiral Richard E. Byrd's legacy involves an alleged secret diary that purportedly documents his encounter with extraterrestrial beings during one of his Antarctic expeditions. This diary, often referred to in conspiracy circles, adds a layer of mystique to Byrd's already remarkable career as a polar explorer. The story has become a significant part of the lore surrounding Operation High Jump and Byrd's Antarctic explorations. The purported secret diary of Admiral Byrd is said to contain detailed accounts of his flight over the North Pole, during which he allegedly encountered advanced beings. According to the conspiracy theory, this diary was kept hidden from the public and only surfaced many years after Byrd's death. During this flight, Byrd is said to have encountered advanced flying craft and beings that communicated with him telepathically. These beings allegedly claimed to be of extraterrestrial origin and expressed concern over humanity's use of nuclear weapons. The beings communicated with Byrd telepathically, conveying messages of peace and warning against the destructive potential of nuclear weapons. These entities purportedly belonged to an advanced civilization that had been observing human activity, particularly the development and deployment of atomic bombs during the Second World War. One of the most sensational claims associated with Admiral Richard E. Byrd's Antarctic expeditions is the alleged discovery of a lush green jungle in the heart of the icy continent. This extraordinary claim, often recounted in conspiracy theories and speculative literature, suggests that Byrd encountered an area that defies the conventional understanding of Antarctica's frigid and barren environment. While there is no concrete evidence to support this narrative, it continues to captivate the public imagination. The origins of the claim that Byrd discovered a jungle in Antarctica can be traced to various speculative sources that blend elements of factual expeditions with imaginative storytelling. According to some versions of the story, Byrd's flight logs from a 1947 expedition include descriptions of flying over a region that unexpectedly featured warm temperatures, lakes, rivers, and dense vegetation. These logs allegedly detail Byrd's astonishment at encountering what seemed to be a temperate climate zone within the Antarctic Circle, complete with lush greenery and wildlife. The supposed jungle is described as being located in an unexplored part of Antarctica, often referred to as a warm oasis or hidden valley. This area is said to be shielded from the surrounding cold by geological or geothermal phenomena, such as volcanic activity or hot springs, creating a microclimate that supports plant and animal life. The narratives describe an environment with significantly higher temperatures than the rest of Antarctica, allowing for the growth of vegetation typically found in temperate or tropical climates. Reports include descriptions of dense forests, flowing rivers, and a variety of flora and fauna that are completely out of place in the traditionally understood Antarctic ecosystem. One theory posits that geothermal activity beneath the Antarctic ice sheet could create localized areas of warmth. Volcanic heat or hot springs might melt the ice and create habitable conditions in certain areas. This geothermal hypothesis is used to explain how a jungle-like environment could theoretically exist, although no scientific evidence has been found to support this in reality. Some proponents suggest that this jungle could be a remnant of a prehistoric ecosystem from a time when Antarctica had a much warmer climate, millions of years ago. This idea builds on the fact that Antarctica was once part of the supercontinent Gondwana and had a much milder climate supporting lush vegetation and diverse animal life. Proponents of the diary theory argue that the US government suppressed Byrd's findings to prevent public panic and maintain control over potentially revolutionary knowledge and technology. There is speculation that any advanced technology or knowledge gained from these encounters could provide a strategic advantage, hence the need for secrecy.
Thanks to Professor Coe's work, we now know much more about the Maya. Without further delay, I am pleased to present to you Professor Michael Coe.
Beginning about 800 AD, something went drastically wrong with these people. This area was abandoned pretty much for hundreds and hundreds, almost 800 years. By comparing civilizations in the past, you could illuminate the whole story of how human cultures came about to be.
Scientists have recently uncovered evidence of advanced ancient civilizations that might not have been entirely human. Among these are the Mayan and Inca civilizations, whose astonishing achievements in engineering, astronomy, and record-keeping continue to baffle modern researchers.
Many of these great Maya cities have been extremely well mapped.
These societies, with their towering pyramids, vast road networks, and intricate stonework, demonstrate a level of sophistication that has led some to speculate about extraterrestrial influence. As we delve into the remarkable legacies of the Mayans and Incas, the mysteries surrounding their capabilities and origins invite us to reconsider the limits of human ingenuity and the possible role of otherworldly intervention. The ruins of the Mayan civilization were rediscovered by Western explorers in the 19th century. John Lloyd Stevens and Frederick Catherwood played pivotal roles in bringing these sites to the world's attention. Stevens' detailed writings and Catherwood's accurate illustrations introduced the grandeur of Mayan architecture and culture to the Western world, sparking further exploration and study. The Mayan civilization thrived for over 3 millennia, from around 2000 BCE to 1500 CE, primarily across what is now Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador. This civilization developed in the region known as Mesoamerica, characterized by diverse landscapes including rainforests, mountains, and coastal plains. The geographical diversity greatly influenced the Mayan culture, agriculture, and architectural styles. The Mayans had one of the most sophisticated writing systems in pre-Columbian America, consisting of hieroglyphs. These hieroglyphs numbered around 800 distinct symbols, some representing syllables while others depicted whole words. This system enabled the Mayans to record their history, rituals, and astronomical observations with remarkable precision. Surviving codices, such as the Dresden Codex, provide invaluable insights into their knowledge and cultural practices. The Mayans were advanced in both mathematics and astronomy. They independently developed the concept of zero, a critical mathematical innovation, and utilized a vigesimal base 20 numbering system. Their calendar system was equally sophisticated. The Tzolk'in, a 260-day ritual calendar, and the Hab, a 365-day solar calendar, were used in tandem to create a 52-year calendar round. Additionally, the long count calendar allowed the Mayans to chronologically record longer periods. They were capable of predicting solar eclipses and had detailed knowledge of celestial movements, particularly that of Venus. Mayan cities were renowned for their monumental architecture. Structures included temples, pyramids, palaces, and observatories, often constructed with precise alignment to astronomical events. One notable structure is the Temple of the Great Jaguar in Tikal, which stands 47 meters tall. These architectural marvels were often decorated with intricate carvings and inscriptions that told the stories of gods, kings, and important events. The Mayans played a ceremonial ball game known as Pocatoc, which held significant ritualistic importance. The game was played on large ball courts, with the Great Ball Court at Chichen Itza measuring 168 meters in length and 70 meters in width, making it one of the largest in Mesoamerica. The Mayans employed advanced agricultural techniques to sustain their large populations. They used methods such as terracing, which involved creating stepped fields on slopes to prevent erosion and manage water resources. Slash-and-burn farming was another technique, where vegetation was cut and burned to clear land for crops.
And in the ashes, all the nutriments that were in the trees are now in the soil.
Additionally, they developed raised field farming. which involved creating elevated plots of land to prevent flooding and increase arable land in swampy areas. In 1911, Hiram Bingham, an American historian, brought international attention to the ancient site of Machu Picchu. His expedition and subsequent publications revealed the extent of Inca achievements, sparking widespread interest in Inca history and culture. The Inca civilization flourished between the early 15th century and the Spanish conquest in the 16th century, centered in the Andean region of South America. Their empire, known as Tawantinsuyu, covered vast areas of modern-day Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina, reflecting its vast territorial expanse divided into 4 administrative regions. The Incas were renowned for their extraordinary engineering and architectural skills. They constructed structures that have withstood the test of time and seismic activity, a testament to their advanced building techniques. Machu Picchu, located at an altitude of 2,430 meters, features intricate stonework using a technique called ashlar, where stones are cut to fit together without mortar, providing both aesthetic beauty and structural stability. Another marvel is Sacsayhuaman, a fortress near Cusco with massive stones, some weighing up to 200 tons, fitted together with remarkable precision. This site served as both a military complex and a ceremonial center. The Incas built an extensive and sophisticated road network known as the Capac Ñan, spanning over 40,000 kilometers across their empire. This network facilitated efficient communication, trade, and military movements throughout the mountainous terrain. The roads included bridges, tunnels, and rest stations called tambos. Agriculture was a cornerstone of Inca society, and their innovative techniques allowed them to thrive in the challenging Andean environment. They implemented terrace farming on steep slopes to prevent soil erosion and create arable land. These terraces were built with stone walls and filled with fertile soil. Moray, a site featuring a series of concentric terraces, each with a different microclimate, is believed to have been an agricultural laboratory where the Incas experimented with crop cultivation. The Incas used a unique record-keeping system called quipu, consisting of knotted strings. Quipus were used to convey numerical information and record data such as census records, tribute obligations, and historical events. The system was highly versatile, with the color, length, and knotting patterns of the strings encoding different types of information. Religion was central to Inca life, with a pantheon of gods and elaborate rituals. The sun god Inti was the most important deity, and the Incas considered themselves his descendants. The Coricancha in Cusco was the main temple dedicated to Inti, adorned with gold and precious stones. Both human and animal sacrifices were integral to their religious practices, conducted to appease the gods and ensure agricultural fertility, success in warfare, and the well-being of the empire. When comparing the Mayan and Inca civilizations, their engineering prowess stands out. The Mayans are known for their vertical architecture, with iconic towering pyramids. El Castillo at Chichen Itza, standing 30 meters tall, is known for its precise astronomical alignment. On the equinoxes, shadows cast by the setting sun create the illusion of a serpent descending the steps, a tribute to the serpent deity Kukulkan. Another testament to Mayan architectural skill is the Temple of the Great Jaguar at Tikal, a 47-meter tall structure serving both religious and administrative purposes. In contrast, the Incas excelled in creating extensive horizontal structures and infrastructure, particularly in challenging mountainous terrains. The Capac Ñan road system, spanning over 40,000 kilometers, connected the vast Inca empire, facilitating communication, trade, and military movements. Their terrace systems, like those at Machu Picchu, not only prevented soil erosion but also created microclimates to cultivate diverse crops. In terms of record-keeping, the Mayans developed one of the most complex writing systems in pre-Columbian America, consisting of approximately 800 glyphs. Mayan scribes documented their knowledge in codices, such as the Dresden Codex, which contains detailed astronomical tables, ritual schedules, and historical records. Inscriptions on stelae and temple walls recorded important historical events, genealogies of rulers, and religious texts, providing rich sources of information for modern researchers.